Hi everyone, I'm Ellen March, and this is Sulky of America's So What Facebook video series. Thanks for joining me today. And I thought since the weather is getting so hot and it seems like it is officially summer, today we would talk about summer stitching. What are you sewing for the summer? What do you want to sew for the summer? What are you working on right now to get in the spirit of the hot weather? Now that so much of us are not able to travel for the summer, it gives us an opportunity to do some more sewing for our homes, some more sewing for our wardrobe that we normally wouldn't spend time on during the summer months. So I want to hear from you. What kind of projects are you working on during these summer months or to prepare for hotter, warmer weather, that type of thing? So I want to first, before I dive into some great summer projects, I wanted to show you all what I ended up doing with the Land That I Love pillow that I asked you all your opinions on. Should it have pom-pom trim? What should I do with the backing? So I wanted to show you the big reveal on what happened with that pillow. So just to refresh your memory, the pillow was embroidered in the center sort of block with a little patriotic saying. And it's part of the Sulky Red, White, and U machine embroidery mini palette. We're calling it a mini palette because it has 6 spools of thread. And we have some larger machine embroidery palettes that have 10 spools of thread. So you get the idea. This is a mini palette. And what's great about it is it comes with a bunch of different designs that you can create using that palette. So instead of grabbing up some cute designs and then checking your thread library to make sure that you have the colors that you need, it all comes packaged together quite nicely. So in this mini palette, as you can see, you get a spool of metallic as well. You also get a spool of sulky glowy thread, and it's the white glowy. It glows a little bit greenish when it's glowing in the dark, but it looks white during the daytime. So you get to experiment with those specialty threads, and then you get your staples for your red, white, and blue, and a spool of black. So it's a great palette for all things patriotic, and it comes with these 6 designs. And they're sort of large scale designs. You could make them in a 5x7 or larger hoop. The small one, I believe, the one that's born free, you could do in a 4x4 hoop as well. So it comes with all those great designs that are in the style of that chalkboard art lettering and super cute, easy to stitch out. So I created this pillow and I asked you all your opinion because I only have the top done at that point. And dun da da da, here's how it came out. I'll have to mirror my screen so that you can read it how it is meant to be. Land That I Love. Isn't that cute? So I did go for the pom-pom trim because, I mean, why not? And pom-pom trim is so cute. So this is mini pom-pom trim. You can see it's really sort of tightly woven into the trim itself, so that it doesn't really dangle a lot, but you could definitely go with a larger, even like a 1-inch diameter pom-pom trim, and that would be really cute. So I did go for just matching fabric on the back. We had a little debate about that. Should I go with something more blue or a different print? But I went really simple with it so that that trim would pop, and I love how it brings out the blue thread in the embroidery design. So I just wanted to make sure that you all got the big reveal. It's also part of one of our blog posts, and you can go get the full instructions for how to make that pillow, how to stabilize it. You could see there's little metallic flecks that I used for these little sort of spritzes, I call them. And it's just really cute little home decor item. What I love about red, white, and blue stuff is you can get it out for Memorial Day and keep it out until 4th of July. So anytime you can stretch your decor and make it sort of last longer, you know, why not? So that's really cute. And that happens to be our giveaway today. Not the pillow, but this thread palette that comes with these designs. So like, comment, share today's post, and you will be automatically eligible to win this little gifty, and I will announce the winner tomorrow. So you'll have the opportunity to watch and comment and give me some thumbs up and some love for the post today, and you could win this thread palette, and I can't wait to see what you do with it. You can sprinkle that glowy thread in any of those designs. The red, white, and blue design would be really cute with the white in glowy. And then, you know, as it gets darker and before the fireworks start, if you are lucky enough to be able to see some fireworks this 4th of July, then that part of your shirt will glow. So that's kind of cute. Okay, so, and here's just a pretty little shot of the pillow if it was hard for you to see while I was holding it up there. So yeah, I think it turned out really great. It's oftentimes difficult to add machine embroidery to print fabrics because it's very difficult to read. It's very difficult to see the design once it's competing with that print. And this one I think pops really well. You can definitely read it. The print was very, very small. It just has little red stars on it. So something to think about, you know, when you're planning your own project. So, all right, let's dive into some other things that people like to sew for summer, and that is swimwear. Now, swimwear is actually kind of a bear for machine embroidered embellishments, and it looks so, so good. You know, if you happen to have a ready-made suit that's all one color, a lot of people like to have black swimsuits, adding a little bit of machine embroidery with some bright, bright threads, just a little touch of something homemade, you know, it makes your suit stand out from the rest. It gives you a little bit of personalization, and, you know, it's like a tattoo, only you don't have to have it on your body, right? So, stabilizing swimwear. If you all have questions about how to do that effectively, I will try to keep up with the comments and bring some of your questions in today, because I know that it causes a lot of people grief. And I will say, embroidering a ready-made swimsuit, and I'm talking machine embroidery here, is a little bit different than embroidering a suit that you're making from scratch. I don't know how many of you out there have tried making your own swimsuit from scratch. Please let me know. I made my first one about 2 or 3 years ago, I want to say, and I dreaded it the whole time. And then when I was finally making it, it wasn't that bad. It really wasn't. You know, you're contending with this stretchy, stretchy fabric. A lot of the times it's sticky. You have a lot of things to contend with. But stabilizer does wonders for those stretchy seams. You can apply some stabilizer to the seam allowance, or to the whole garment piece really, and sew that way, and it just does a number of things for you, making your life easier. The stabilizer I like to use for that type of application is Sulky Sticky Fabrisolve. Okay, I will see if I can show you a picture of that one. Sulky Sticky Fabrisolve. Now, you can cut strips of this and apply it along the seam allowance, and then when you go to sew, your fabric is not going to stretch. You can do it on the top fabric and the bottom fabric. If you don't have a walking foot or something that's going to help feed those 2 layers of fabric at an even rate, Sticky Fabrisolve to the rescue. And then it washes out completely when you are done. No one knows that you used this little cheat. No one ever knows that it was there, and then your fabric just goes back to being stretchy the way that it should be. It's great, great stuff. Highly recommend it. Okay, so if you're embroidering on a ready-made swimsuit, obviously you need to choose an area of the garment that's going to be easily accessible so that you can get it on the hoop. You probably are not going to be able to actually hoop it, and you probably don't want to, because when you hoop it, it's going to stretch the fabric along that hoop ring. And then when you go to pop it out of the hoop, it's going to shrink back up against the thread, causing all kinds of puckers. So you want to do hoopless embroidery. I call it hoopless embroidery. It's still going in on the hoop, not in the hoop. Okay, so yes, you are still using a hoop, but you're not hooping it. I hope that makes sense. What you're going to do is hoop the Sulky Sticky Plus, wrong one, Sulky Sticky Plus goes in the hoop with the paper side up. I talk about this stabilizer all the time on So What because I love working with it for so many different applications. But hoop it with the paper side up, score inside the hoop on the paper only, peel it away to reveal that sticky back, and then you're going to stick your swimsuit directly to the Sticky Plus stabilizer that has been hooped. Okay, then you can do a baste in the hoop function if you want to make sure that that area is secured further and embroider your design. And this is a tearaway stabilizer, so you can easily remove your swimwear from the hooped stabilizer once your design is complete and then tear it away. You can also use the sticky Fabrisolvi in the same way. You can hoop the sticky Fabrisolvi, you can hoop the sticky Fabrisolvi, tear away the adhesive, then you've got a wash away version of that same technique. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. Does the Sulky Sticky Plus gum up your needle or machine? Okay, I get this question a lot because, again, I talk about the stabilizer a lot. For me, it does not gum up my needle, and I probably use that stabilizer more than anyone. However, if you are having some kind of issue with it sticking, you can apply a little tiny bit, and I thought I had some right next to me of, evidently I don't, I'm always missing something. You can apply a little tiny bit of a thread lubricant or needle lubricant. Okay, we have some at sulky.com. You'll put a tiny little drip and run it on the needle where your thread goes in and the needle hole. It's going to lubricate the needle so that you don't have any sticking. And you probably only need to do it once or twice during your stitch out, depending on how many stitches your design has. It's very inexpensive, so you can pick some up and try it. But again, I have not had problems. I will say though, I change my needle frequently. I highly recommend changing your needle frequently. It could be ever so slightly bent, ever so slightly burred just from, when you're moving your hoop on and off the machine, you could accidentally nick it or move it, stuff like that just goes on. It might look totally straight to the naked eye, and it's actually slightly curved. That will affect your stitch out. It could have some kind of buildup on it, like perhaps from the Sticky Plus or something else that's sticky, or even just thread fibers, dust, things like that. All those things are going to affect your stitch out and are going to affect how your needle is reacting to the stabilizer and fabric combo. So I always begin with a new needle, especially if I'm doing a high stitch count design. I just want it to be perfect. Needles are relatively inexpensive. Always grab a new pack of needles when you're getting a new kit for a project or you're starting a project. Always, always, always just grab another pack of needles. Another $3, $4, it's totally worth it if you are going to save yourself a lot of headache. All right. Yes, fresh needles are a must. Thank you for agreeing with me there. Sewer's Aid, that was it. I couldn't think of it. Thank you. Sewer's Aid is the lubricant I was talking about, and it is available at sulky.com. Okay, all right, so back to the swimwear. So when I'm doing ready-made swimsuit, okay, you can do the Sticky Plus or the Sticky Fabri-Solvi version. It is also a great idea to use that first stabilizer that I brought up, which is Soft and Sheer Extra. Now, this is a fusible, cutaway, lightweight stabilizer. And the reason you would want this cutaway when you are doing a ready-made swimsuit is because it's going to stay with the swimsuit forever. Your design is going to still have its integrity throughout all the washing, all the use, all the water, no matter salt water, chlorinated water, etc. So a cutaway is recommended. All right. You can also apply a cutaway after you have either washed away your stabilizer or used tearaway as sort of a like sealant type stabilizer that will stay with it. Okay. So that gets a little complicated, and I know that there are different ways to accomplish all of these techniques. So let me know what you have had success with. I do want to also mention, if you can get that part of the swimsuit apart so that your swimsuit still has a lining, that's going to be your best bet, because then you don't have any scratchy embroidery or stabilizer touching your skin after you've done the embroidery. So quite honestly, I think it's just a better idea all around to start from scratch and make the swimsuit if you want to embellish it. There are some great patterns out there that fit a number of different bodies. And I will say, I'm more comfortable making a swimsuit when it is for one of my daughters because, first off, their body is so much smaller. They don't have any curves yet. It's so easy to make them clothing, let alone a swimsuit. You don't have to contend with all, a whole bunch of fabric. So if you mess up and you need to redo the stitch out, it's not that big of a deal. So if you have a kid, grandkid, neighbor kid, something like that, you can use as your sort of guinea pig to dive into making a swimsuit from scratch and embroidering it. I highly recommend. It's kind of like, if you want to make a prom dress, start with a doll dress. Was I the only one that got that advice? Start with a doll version until it's perfected, and then you can go big. All right, so the swimsuit that I'm going to be talking about is actually this swim top that I made for my daughter, and it has these short sleeves and great coverage, and the whole center panel just was screaming out for machine embroidery. So I also want to mention that that piece in this pattern did not have a lining. So I created one, and after I embroidered everything and applied the lining, I serged the edges of the lining piece and the outer piece so that they then acted as one. And then I continued with the pattern instruction using that pattern piece as just one piece. So that was the only piece that I lined of the whole top. And quite honestly, I made this last summer, so I do not know if this pattern is still available. But if you find a pattern that's similar, this swim top is it's great, great stuff. And then, of course, I found the mermaid swimwear fabric, and that was a hit. So I'm just going to take you through kind of my steps for embroidering this so that you can get an overall view of how I created this. And there's also a blog post on the Sulky blog. It's blog.sulky.com, and you can get all the instructions. So, just sit back and relax, and then you can go to the post to get all of the how-tos. So here I have my top swimwear fabric stuck to that sticky plus in the hoop. And you can see that it is sticking like nobody's business, okay? But at the same time, it is super easy to just tear it away when your embroidery is complete. So this is my finished design. I chose a design that does not have a lot of fill stitches. This is just an outline design. And I just stitched it in black thread because the fabric itself is this kind of, holographic type thing. And actually, is this a metallic thread? Hold up. I have it right next to me. No. I should know that, right? The fabric, you could see it speaks for itself. I didn't want to really compete with things too much, so I went with just kind of a plain thread. But choose a large scale design that's going to fill out that area. Whoopsies. Okay, so here is me making the lining piece. I'm just using a black swimwear fabric for the back of the lining piece. And then I used part of this fabric for the bottoms that I created as well. So then I kind of tied in the plain black with this kind of mermaidy, unicorny fabric, and then the mermaid print with the scales. So I basically used that piece as my pattern piece. I cut out a piece of my black swimwear fabric just exactly to match. And then, like I said, I serged the entire perimeter so that they would then act as one. And then that sandwiches everything together and keeps my embroidery perfectly nice. So there are my serged edges. You can see now that piece is fully lined. So if you happen to get a swimwear pattern that doesn't have lining where you want lining, or you want a little extra lining, more coverage, just create a pattern piece or use that same piece that you used for the outer piece. Just cut yourself a lining. Make sure they go wrong sides together so pretty sides are out on both sides, and then move forward with your pattern. Okay, try to stay organized here. So there's a close-up of the finished embroidery, and you can, I gave you a photo because it's so hard to see with the lighting and stuff in here. The embroidery is kind of subtle, but it's like just enough to give it a little nudge more exciting, as if the fabric wasn't exciting enough. And then there is the finished top. So I only made one. My girls fight over it. They absolutely love it. It was not as hard as I thought to sew that stretchy binding. I will say, it does help to have a serger when you're doing projects like this, but you definitely can just set your machine for an overlock stitch or set your machine for a zigzag. Go slow. Use the strips of stabilizer along your seams so that everything is flat and nothing stretches while you sew, unless you want it to stretch. There are some instances, for example, putting sleeves into the armscye seam. Sometimes you need it to stretch a little bit, and you can leave your strip of stabilizer out of that area where you want it to gather or where you need it to stretch. So it does take a little bit of experimentation, but I highly recommend that tip for hemming stretchy things, okay? Hemming stretchy things. That sticky Fabri-Solvi, just use it like you would a piece of tape. Put it on there and then wash it away when you're all done. Nothing will stretch. You won't have those wavy kind of lettuce edge hems that you get in some knit garments. It'll just be perfect every time. So that's a really fun project, and if you can find these fun fabrics and create your own swimwear and have a staycation, since, you know, we're unable to take a cruise and we're unable to go on to these tropical locations, let's bring the tropics to our own backyard, right? Why not? All right, so another thing that I get asked about a lot is embroidering on towels. And embroidering on a beach towel is a great gift idea for personalization, for kids, for kids going to college, and even just for your own self. I mean, if you go out to the lake or the beach and you want to differentiate your towel from your neighbor's, and hopefully it's 6 feet away, am I right? Um, but, you know, let's say we're able to go to pool parties again, and you want to make sure that you know that that's your towel, or that your kid goes home with the right towel. Slap a monogram on that thing. Not only is it cute and decorative, but it also makes sure that that thing's going to come home with you, right? So instead of just showing you a regular or standard beach towel with embroidery, I went ahead and grabbed some terry cloth fabric and I made a little towel wrap. Now, there's a story behind why I made this project. It's kind of like those spa wraps that you see that has some elastic in the back, and then it's just a simple Velcro closure along the top. The reason I made this is because I took my girls to the pool. Now, this was last year when we could go to the pool. And my youngest has her big floppy beach towel, and we're walking along and she tripped on it and fell flat on her face. Okay? Mortified. I mean, it was a moment. Okay? So I decided to get some terry cloth fabric and make her this towel wrap so that when she's leaving the pool, she can wrap it around herself. She doesn't have to hold on to it, try to tie it. And I made it short enough so that she could walk with it while still being covered. So adding a little bit of embroidery to that just makes it a little special, and it just, you know, turns it into more of a gift. So that's why I went with one of her favorites, this little octopus. This is a Urban Threads design. I really love a lot of their machine embroidery designs. And I'm sure if you just search octopus on their site, you will find it. And it showcases all these fun threads. Now, I used the sticky Fabri-Solvi in the hoop, and then I stuck my towel to the stabilizer. Okay, you don't want to hoop terry cloth because it's going to give hoop burn to your project, and that means it will have a marking where that hoop was for the rest of its life, because it pushes these fibers aside, the hoop, all the pressure from the hoop ring pushes those fibers aside, and they will never come back. You can also make this project with a ready-made beach towel as well. If you happen to have, you know, maybe an older one, or even some of the new ones are really cute too. You can kind of cut off the banding on the top, fold it over, and create a casing for this elastic and create your project. But I digress. Okay, or I'm getting ahead of myself. The instructions for that are also on the Sulky blog. I believe I put them in the description for today's So What, but if I did not, I will add them in the comments here. And very, very simple construction. But like I was saying, the sticky Fabri-Solvi, that is what I used on the wrong side of the towel. I get questions all the time about people using the Sticky Plus with a terry cloth and then having a heck of a time trying to pull it away from that sticky stabilizer without the terry cloth loops kind of snagging or coming apart. Now, I have had success both ways with Sticky Plus and with the Sticky Fabri-Solvi on towels. But I will say with this particular terry cloth by the yard, the loops, it's really hard to see, but the loops of the terry are quite large or long, okay? So with something with longer loops, you want to use the sticky Fabri-Solvi so that it can wash away and you won't have to be trying to pull it off of the sticky to get it off of there. But something like a hand towel or a lot of bath towels, you can get away with using the Sticky Plus, and that's what we recommend because the loops are just tighter. If you have a really soft towel, it'll be fine on that Sticky Plus. But something like this, just keep in mind, you want to use something that can wash away when you are done so you don't have to pull on it and risk those snags. Now, I've got a few snags on here, and that's just because this has been used for the past year. My daughter loves it. She even uses it when she gets out of the bath, so it gets a lot of wear and tear. But these snags that you see here are because of wear and tear, not because of the stabilizer. So also when you're doing toweling of any kind, you have got to use a topper. A topper is going to be placed on top of this fabric once you have positioned it over your sticky stabilizer. And what that does is it allows the thread to sit on top of the fabric surface instead of sinking into the pile of the terry cloth. If you didn't have a topper, your stitches would kind of disappear into those loops. But since I use that Solvi topper, my embroidery is really pronounced and looks lovely. So you've gotta get the Sulky Solvi when you're doing towel embroidery. All right, and I will just show you my daughter wearing her cute little towel wrap. And you can see, you know, it hits her just under the armpit and then goes to the floor. Now she's quite a bit taller and it goes just at her knee and it's still great. My son has been asking for one. He wants to wear his around his waist and have it go to the floor as well. So, you know, you get a lot of mileage out of this project. You can make it for adults as well. It's not just a kid project. And again, it's great for spa day or just using in your bathroom. Put a cute monogram on there, that type of thing. So she was like super happy to model this for me. So I'm going to show you a lot of the pictures, but this is how it's gathered in the back. And you use a super wide elastic so that it holds up and doesn't want to shift and fall down. Yeah, so. Oh, here is me just hemming the side of the towel. So you want to create your casing, get your elastic in there, and the elastic doesn't go all the way around the front. The elastic is just in a section along the back, and then you'll stitch that down. And that way, when you go to wrap it in front of you, there's no elastic behind that Velcro area. And what I did for her actually is I made the Velcro way longer than I would, let's say, for an adult, because then she can adjust it as she grows. So I put quite a long strip of Velcro on that piece, and it has paid off because it's one thing that she can still wear. Yay! Okay, I've seen a lot of questions come in, and so I want to address those. Love the towel design. Do you have it on the website? It's actually an Urban Threads design. It's not a Sulky design, so you can go on their website, urbanthreads.com, and just search for octopus. I'm sure you'll find it. What is the best solvi for freestanding lace? So this is a great question. Sulky has 3 different weights of solvi stabilizers. Solvi is the original one. It is the lightest weight, okay? Then we've got Ultra Solvi, which is heavier weight, and then we've got Super Solvi, which is even heavier than Ultra Solvi, okay? So for freestanding lace, you can use the Super Solvi, or you can use the Ultra Solvi, or you can use 2 layers of Ultra Solvi. Okay, that's what I would recommend. 2 layers of Ultra Solvi may be needed if there are certain areas of your lace design that are denser than others. And you can actually also float an additional layer. If you've only got one layer in the hoop and you notice that you've got a denser area of that design, you can float an additional layer under where that denser area is going to be. Or you can just start off with 2 layers for the whole thing. So I hope that answered your question. Would you use the wash away in both areas? And I assume you're talking about with the towel. So like I said, if you have longer loops on your terry cloth, you want to use a wash away in the hoop. Stick your terry cloth down and then a solvy wash away on top. So you're basically sandwiching it between 2 kinds of solvy stabilizer. I hope that makes sense. Okay. Hope you show the pillow again. I will show the pillow again. For those of you who joined us late or just want to see the pillow again, I'll have to mirror my screen again so you can read it. This is the Land That I Love pillow that I was working on a couple weeks ago, and I wanted your opinion on how to finish this guy. So I wanted to show you how it came out. And the full instructions are at blog.sulky.com. You can see it's kind of a pieced pillow. And then the center, you can embroider with just about anything you want. You could do hand embroidery. You don't have to do machine embroidery. You can do some fun quilting stitches to add some more thread to the party. And this is a design that is inside our red, white, and U machine embroidery mini palette. And if you do prefer doing handwork, we have a red, white, and U handwork palette as well. And that comes with the Sulky 12-weight cotton petites thread. So, and it also comes with a metallic in there as well, because you got to use metallics for red, white, and blue July 4th themed things. Am I right? You got to break out the metallics, whether you're doing handwork or machine embroidery work. So I'll just show you again, that's our giveaway for today. For those of you who like, share, comment on the post, we've got this great 6-pack of Sulky thread. It's kind of an assortment really, because you're getting a metallic spool, a white glowy spool, and then your red, white, and blue, and a bobbin thread in there. So all you really need to create tons of patriotic themed embroidery designs for summer. And these are a little sampling. Well, actually, these are all 6 designs that you get along with your 6 spools of thread. So you can really have fun with this one, and I think you guys will really like it. Okay, let me see if we've got some more questions today. Embroidery adds so much fun to the top. You know, the swimwear top, honestly, I understand those of you who might have apprehension to sewing your own swimwear. I definitely did. I was like, there's no way this thing's going to fit me in the end. And I just went with a really simple pattern, a full coverage swimsuit, and you know, it turned out pretty great. And no, I'm not going to show you a picture because I'm not that confident yet. But if I can get someone else to model it, maybe I'll show it off to you. But it's so much easier to embroider swimwear when you're starting from scratch. I mean, you definitely can add a design to a ready-made swimsuit, no problem. But it is so nice to find a pattern that you really like, that you know is going to fit your body type. I mean, everybody's got their own issues with swimwear, and you know how we want it to fit and what part of our body we want it to accentuate, what part of our body we want it to, you know, mask or I don't know, just fit in a different way from what you can find in the store. And you know, that might be the reason that a lot of us sew, is because we just cannot find what we want in the store. So when it comes to swimwear, you know, buy a top here pattern here, get a bottom pattern here, mix, match, bring it all together with some embroidery and the same fabrics, and you just became your own designer. You know? Exactly. Adding your pattern to meet your needs. That's exactly right. So I had asked earlier too what you guys have been sewing for summer, and this comment is one that I have heard a lot over the summer, spending time to get started on Christmas gifts. I think that's how the whole Christmas in July thing really took off. Is if you're a maker and you want to add some homemade touches to what you give to people at Christmas time. You know, there is no time like the present to get a jump start on all of that stuff while we're sheltering in place, while we are home making friends again with our sewing machines. And we will be having a lot of Christmas stuff coming your way for July. So I hope you stick with Sulky because there are some really great things in the pipeline for that as well. Gift giving as well as decor. I don't know about you, but the more I spend in my house, the more I want to decorate it and change things and, remodel the whole thing because I am staring at the same walls and the same rooms and the same linens and decor. And it's actually a jumpstart to your creativity. So I hope you all feel the same as well. Okay, Beverly is saying she has problems embroidering on terry towels. So if you have a specific issue and I haven't addressed it in today's So What, please be sure to email us at info@sulky.com. We are always here to answer your questions and to help you have a better creative process, better creative journey, better end result. So be sure if you have a specific question that I'm not addressing, we want to help you get there. We want to help you have professional results. So please email us and let us know, and we'll work with you until we get it right. Need swimwear in Florida. I know. I'm in Colorado here, and none of the pools are open. The open spaces are not really open, and it's a tough time, I tell you what. And all my kids want to do the minute it gets above 78 degrees is go to the pool. So if I can create some kind of tropical oasis with a cute little swim outfit or a new towel wrap and put on the sprinklers and get some cold beverages and popsicles out, then that's what we're going to do, right? Stay positive and pretend that we are all in the tropics enjoying ourselves in the heat. Okay. So I appreciate so much all of your comments. I'm trying to filter through them, or not filter through them, but I'm trying to read them all. So I apologize for my delay in response. Might do the wrap, but swimwear is out. I hear ya. It is a challenging project, and but the great thing is it doesn't require a lot of fabric. It doesn't require a big investment there. So if you do want to try it out and just see how you like it, like I said, start with kind of a top like this that it's not a bikini, it's not a tankini, it's not it's something that you could wear on your bike or something that you could wear just out hiking and run through the sprinklers in. And if you kind of start with a shirt or something that you're a little more familiar with making, instead of dealing with skinny straps and things like that, or worrying if it's going to fit your body, start there and you might change your mind. You might like it. So okay, towels would make great gifts any time of year. You're so right. Exactly. Okay. Maybe I will have the courage to make a swimsuit. Yes. Like I said, why not? Now's the time to kind of experiment, and you'll learn a lot of new things. And Whether or not you end up keeping it and wearing it is another thing. um, but, don't get super high end fancy fabric. Start small and, like I said, just make a pair of bottoms. Just make a pair of bottoms and then pair it with a top. Maybe you have a like tank top suit. Um, Pair it with that, and that's a really good way to dip your feet in the water. Huh? I know I'm silly, but it's a good start. You don't have to go big and do the whole shebang and get all different kinds of linings and figure out underwire or like crazy things like that. Just make a pair of bottoms, embroider something, little something something on there. Be super cute. Okay. Sewing is made fun using Sulky stabilizers and KK2000. Yes, love the KK2000. I mean, especially the KK2000 is our temporary spray adhesive. For those of you who quilt and use quilt basting spray, it's great for that. I use it for so many different applications. And if you're doing something like we talked about today, hoopless embroidery, which is what I call it, and you don't happen to have some sticky stabilizer, you're in a crunch, can't find any, or you don't have it on hand, you can use a traditional tearaway, a Sulky Tear Easy, and spray it once it's been hooped with the KK2000, and then do your hoopless embroidery that way. Keep in mind, though, it is air soluble. So if you don't finish the entire embroidery, you're going to have to do some kind of surgery and get some more KK2000 in there. But, when you're doing an embroidery project, once you get it in the hoop and you get your stitches started, it's good to go. So I like it for that, too. Okay. Again, thank you so much for all of these comments. I'm trying to get through them. Not so afraid of the swimsuit anymore. Yes, love it. Finding decent fabric. I know that is always the challenge, right? I think I found this mermaid part of this in the cosplay area at Joann's. Now, it was last summer. And then, like I said, I paired this with traditional swimwear fabric. That's my lining piece, as well as this plain piece that I put on the back. All right, so it is difficult to find just that right fabric, I know. All right, customized sun shirt protector for kayaking. See? Exactly. You don't have to go for the whole traditional swimwear, Swim shorts will be great. I totally agree. And like I said, adding a little bit of embroidery to your existing suit, it just makes it stand out from the rest. It gives you a little something something handmade on an otherwise kind of plain swimsuit. Trying a thrift store, that's a great idea for finding great fabrics, and you can cut around holes and worn areas. You can piece things together, not necessarily for swimwear. That's a little bit more intimate. You might want a brand new fabric for that type of thing, but it all depends on what you're using it for. All right, so thank you so much. Yes, I have heard that Joann's is out of so much fabric. I know a lot of the Walmarts have no fabric on their shelves, things like that. So I definitely sympathize with those of us out there trying to make stuff and we can't find the right fabrics. I will say that there are a lot of kits available at sulky.com if you're looking for something really fun to make. We've got pre-made kits. The fabric is already cut for you. It comes with the thread that you need. It may come with the zipper that you need or the D-ring that you need or what have you. We are here and stocked and ready for you. So feel free to check out all those great kits for some projects to make if you're out there and trying to find materials and you just don't know where to look anymore, or they've only got one type of fabric on the shelves. So that's can be really, really challenging. All right, well, hopefully I answered your question. If you had one in the comments, and again, if you have more questions, please email us at info@sulky.com. We want to make sure that you're getting where you need to be in your projects and working with our products. So we are here for you. We want to make sure that we're helping you along so that you don't have frustration at your machine. So definitely get in touch with us, and be sure to join me next week on another episode of So What. Thanks, everybody.